when my stepdaughter asked, "Can I borrow your credit card? I need to buy something." I hesitated for a moment. I didn't have any cash on hand, so I reluctantly handed her the card. Though she's my stepdaughter, we're not related by blood. She's my husband's daughter from his previous marriage. "Sure," I said cautiously, "but remember, this is a family card. Use it responsibly and don't lose it, okay?" She nodded, her tone unusually sweet. I took that as a sign she understood, despite her occasional attitude. But when she came home later that night, reeking faintly of alcohol, my gut told me something was off. "Welcome back," I said, trying to sound casual. "You're home late. What did you buy?" With a smug grin, she twirled in the doorway, showing off an outfit that looked far from cheap. "Isn't this amazing?" she boasted. "I bought it today and wore it right away for the reunion party. Everyone said I was the best dressed there." A knot formed in my stomach. "What reunion party?" I asked, my concern growing. "Oh, just a little gathering I organized," she replied breezily. "I booked the luxury hotel near Central Park. 35 people came. It was the event of the season. Since I was feeling generous, I covered everyone's dinner. Some friends even flew in, so I booked their hotel rooms too. Aren't I amazing?" Her words hit like a ton of bricks. 35 people? At a luxury hotel? My heart raced as I tried to calculate the damage. "How much did you spend?" I asked, barely keeping my voice steady. $3,480, she said with a laugh, as if it were pocket change. I froze. My platinum card had a limit of $50,000, and she burned through nearly $3,500 in a single night, all for a display of extravagance she hadn't earned. "Do you have any idea how much hard work it takes to earn that kind of money?" I asked, struggling to contain my anger. "Relax," she scoffed. "Family money is my money, and everyone was so grateful. I was the star of the night." "No, Emily," I said firmly. "They weren't thanking you. They were thanking my money." Her smirk faltered for a moment, but she quickly brushed it off. "Well, that's rude of you," she said flippantly. "Anyway, you're clearly the wealthiest in the family now. I'm sure I can count on you in the future." She laughed and sauntered off to her room. I knew something had to change, and fast. The next morning, I called the credit card company and canceled the card. Over the following weeks, Emily was unusually quiet. Rumors of her lavish party had spread among her friends, and some of them weren't impressed. "Who does she think she is, throwing money around like that?" I overheard one say during a tense phone call. Emily was livid but said nothing to me. I could see the cracks forming in her once unshakable confidence. Then one day, she waltzed up to me with the same smug grin. "Hey, Alice, can I borrow your card again? My friends and I are planning a spa weekend." I smiled calmly. "Oh, that card? I canceled it last month. And by the way, you're no longer under my legal custody." Her grin vanished. "What? What do you mean?" I mean," I said evenly, "you're not my responsibility anymore." The look of shock on her face told me she finally understood. Her days of unchecked indulgence were over. "I canceled the card after you spent $3,480 in a single night," I said firmly. It was clear I needed to take control. "What?" she yelled, her face turning red. "How am I supposed to pay for the hotel expenses?" "I'll take care of the bill," I replied calmly, "but you'll pay me back every penny, all $3,480 of it." "That's not fair," she shouted, stomping her foot. "It's a family card. I can spend on it if I want." "You're mistaken if you think my money is your money," I said, holding her gaze. "Blowing nearly $3,500 on a single night is not normal. Emily, it's time you learned the difference between wants and responsibilities." She crossed her arms defensively. "How do you even know it was me?" You don't have proof. Oh, I have plenty of proof, I said with a small, humorless smile. Luxury hotels don't forget when someone walks in with a group and throws money around. I've already contacted the hotel, settled the bill, and confirmed it was all you're doing. Now, you'll pay me back. Every cent. I'm not paying you back, she snapped. I don't need to, I'll just ask Dad about this. Your father and I are getting a divorce, I said coolly. And, by the way, I've also annulled the legal guardianship. We're no longer connected, legally or financially. She froze, her expression shifting from anger to confusion. Wait, what? Why didn't anyone tell me? Where's Dad? He's hiding from creditors, I explained. Your father has been in debt for years, using other people's money to prop up his business image. He's bouncing between friends' houses to avoid debt collectors. Her face drained of color. What? But we're rich. No, Emily, I said, my voice firm. You've been living in a fantasy. Your father lied to me, and by extension, to you. We are not a wealthy family. You've been acting like an heiress, but it's time to face reality. You'll repay that $3,480, and you'll do it by getting a job. Her lip quivered, but she quickly masked it with defiance. This is so unfair, she wailed. Moms don't make their daughters pay them back. I'm not your legal mother anymore, I said matter-of-factly. I filed the paperwork during the divorce. We're not family, Emily. She stared at me, wide-eyed. So, we're really not family anymore? That's right, I said, meeting her gaze. But you can still repay me like any responsible adult would. Consider it a chance to grow up. This isn't fair, she cried, her voice breaking. I just wanted to live like those Instagram celebrities. Then it's time you start working for it yourself, I said. If you want that lifestyle, you could try modeling or auditions, but you'll have to do it without relying on someone else's money. After the divorce, I left the house and cut ties with her father and our old life. I found a small apartment where I could finally start fresh. Now, I'm working on plans to open my own. Owning a cat cafe or an animal-friendly bar had always been my dream, long before everything fell apart. As for Emily, the last I heard, she had taken her first ever job at a convenience store. The reality of working hit her like a ton of bricks. She would come home exhausted, venting about long hours and difficult customers. Yet, beneath her frustration, I began to notice a change, a flicker of resilience I hadn't seen before. Slowly, she was beginning to grasp the value of hard work. She eventually tried applying at an upscale boutique, only to be turned down after the interview. 4 months, she hopped between jobs, a cafe, a fast food restaurant, and a retail store, each experience teaching her lessons in patience and perseverance. The luxuries she'd once taken for granted were no longer within reach. But with every paycheck, she handed over a small portion to me, chipping away at her debt. I knew I'd probably never see the full amount, but that wasn't the point. I wanted her to feel the weight of responsibility, to understand that a dollar earned carried far more meaning than a dollar handed over. Over time, she began to grasp this. Meanwhile, I started working toward my dream. I secured a small loan, found a quaint location for the cat cafe, and threw myself into the renovations. With every brushstroke of paint, every table I set up, I felt a sense of purpose and fulfillment I hadn't experienced in years. When Emily started visiting, she was different, more grounded, more thoughtful. There was a humility in her tone, a softness in her smile. She even spoke about enrolling in college part-time, hoping to build a more stable future for herself. It had taken a long, painful road, but I could see she was beginning to find her way. For the first time, I felt a deep sense of pride, not just in her, but in myself, too. The journey had been difficult, but it taught us both how to stand on our own 2 feet and build lives on our terms. Today, My cat cafe has become a cozy haven for the community, a place where people can unwind and connect with the cats we rescue. It's rewarding to offer a space that brings comfort to others while helping animals in need. On weekends, Emily occasionally stops by to help. She feeds the cats, chats with customers, and even seems at peace here. It's not the life I once imagined, but it's a life I've built with intention and care. And for that, I'm grateful. She even made a few friends among the regulars, and I could see her soft confidence blossoming with every interaction. Though we still had our differences, and the scars of the past remained, a new respect had taken root between us. It wasn't a perfect relationship, but it was ours, built on hard lessons, earned understanding, and a shared commitment to growth. Over time, Emily moved into her own small apartment and began supporting herself fully. She surprised me by enrolling part-time in college to pursue a business degree. One day, with a sly grin, she admitted she wanted to be her own boss. Just like me, while she still had a long road ahead, I finally believed she could achieve it. Watching her journey filled me with a quiet sense of closure. Life hadn't been easy for either of us, but we had both found our footing. It made me realize that family isn't always about shared blood, it's about shared growth, respect, and the determination to move forward. Emily had become her own person, and so had I, as I glanced around my cafe, now bustling with laughter, warmth, and the gentle purring of contented cats. I felt a peace I hadn't known in years. I had created not just a business but a sanctuary, a reflection of the person I'd become. Every now and then, Emily stopped by with friends, introducing them to me with pride. I watched her confidence bloom as she talked about her dreams, some bold and daring, others grounded and practical. One day, I'd love to open a cafe of my own, she shared during one visit. Maybe something with a twist, like supporting local artists alongside serving great coffee. I smiled, offering her advice when she asked but mostly just listening, proud of the independent woman she was becoming. With every project she juggled, every job she took on, and every challenge she faced, I saw her growing into someone capable and determined. Gone were the days of extravagant shopping sprees and requests for my credit card. Instead, she worked tirelessly to shape a future of her own, and it filled me with pride. Sitting in the cafe during those quiet moments, surrounded by the hum of conversation and the soft meows of the cats, I reflected on how far we'd come. The cafe had grown into more than a business, it was a symbol of our shared journey, a testament to resilience and transformation. Emily and I had built a new kind of relationship, one grounded in mutual respect and understanding. Life hadn't followed the path I once imagined, but the one we had created felt just as fulfilling, if not more so. As I watched Emily laugh with her friends, her face glowing with hope and ambition, I knew that every hardship we had faced was worth it. For the first time in a long time, I felt complete. A year later, the cafe had cemented itself as a hub of joy and connection in the neighborhood. Emily, too, had grown, stepping boldly into her own career path with grace and determination. We had both found our places in the world, and that was more than I could have hoped for. We still shared coffee on quiet mornings, our conversations drifting from dreams to the steps needed to achieve them. It was a simple ritual, but it carried profound meaning, a quiet reminder of how far we'd come and the bond we had rebuilt through resilience and understanding. One morning, she surprised me with a neatly wrapped gift, tied with a delicate ribbon. "I wanted to give you this," she said softly, "just as a thank you for everything." Inside was a small plaque engraved with the words strength and heart. I felt a swell of emotion, pride, love, and gratitude, knowing how much we had grown together. The journey hadn't been easy, but here we were, standing stronger than ever. I pulled her into a tight hug, savoring the moment. As I returned to the cafe later that day, I placed the plaque on a shelf where the morning sunlight would catch its words. It felt like a beacon, a symbol of everything we had overcome and built together. In that moment, I understood that life's toughest challenges often pave the way for the most meaningful connections and profound growth. We had carved out lives on our own terms, grounded in trust, mutual respect, and the lessons we'd learned along the way. For the first time, our lives truly felt like they were ours, an unspoken testament to resilience, love, and the courage to create something beautiful from life's struggles. And that, I realized, was the true meaning of family.